Hello everybody, I am Fuzzyface and welcome to the season finale of season 3 of this playthrough of Motorsport Manager on the PC. We're doing quite well this season, we're in 4th and 8th overall. We've actually gone 3 races now without picking up any points, but we're still here in 4th place, only 1 point behind 2nd place here. And the last race of the season is double points, but of course you only get points in this championship at the moment for finishing in the top 5. Hopefully we can go about and do that in this race. We're changing things up a bit. I'm going to try to do the race a bit slower. Maybe it'll leave it on the second bit for the speed up. Not on the slowest and not on the fastest, but in the middle one. Hopefully get a bit more control over the race here. Maybe finish, because it is double points. We don't have any problems finishing 4th. There's a long way between us and 5th place. Obviously there's no real chance of getting 1st place here. We would need both cars to finish at the top. S03 to finish outside and for us to get pole position and the fastest lap, so we would need all those points. Even then it would probably be impossible to do. What's the difference between us? We're 16 points behind. What would that give us? Possibly not as much as that, but I don't see S03 finishing outside the points here. They've been doing the best all season. De Graaf has pretty much run away with the title, although Monroe could probably just pip him to the title. She has a really good race and De Graaf finishes outside the points. I don't think that's going to be happening here in Guildford. It's going to be a wet race. It's only 15 laps with a low fuel burn, but very high tyre wear, so that's probably going to work against us here, as we do like our tyres to go a lot longer. But then again, it might not. Obviously, we did last time out. We do have the best gearbox going forward next year that we built. We built this risky one that we're not actually going to use in the car, but it does actually put us first for acceleration. Obviously we have spec engines, so this way round we're going to probably have the fastest car on the grid, although we're not going to have the fastest overall car because we're pretty slow around most of the corners. So we're just going to have to see how that works out next season. We're going to have to remember to take it out so we don't actually have a band part in the car when we go racing here. We don't have much to do here. Everything's up to scratch apart from this gearbox. Obviously last time out we started work on another front wing that does have some dodgy parts on it. So we're going to go ahead and get that built next and see if we can get that up to scratch before season's end. I am also considering, well, I'm not actually considering her because she does give us so much money being a pay driver. We do get nearly $500,000 back just for having her in a seat in the car. I think I'd hate to do it because she does so well. I'm thinking about replacing Santa Ana at the end of the season. Her contract is going to be coming up. Maybe we can get a 4-star driver, something like that. But I don't really want to pay too much for it because I'm still invested in putting money into the car and money into the HQ, so I'm unsure. She does really well in this car, so maybe with a better car next season she might even do better. So I'm sort of on the fence about with Santa Ana. I'm sort of like leaning probably about 75% to keep and 25 against probably try to find someone new. So I might start scouting a few new people maybe at the end of the season in the first episode for season 4 as we do the off season and the build of a new car. Maybe see if we can replace her, but we're gonna have to decide pretty quickly on a contract before it runs out. But if you think we should keep her or not keep her, leave me a comment down below on what you think we should do. I'm sort of leaning towards it, as even though she's like this computer driver, I do have a bit of loyalty towards her because she has done so well for us in the 3 seasons. Here in 2017 she won the Drivers' Championship in the European Racing Series. Can't even speak here. And she's doing really well this season. She's 4th and she does actually have 2 wins. So as I said, it's probably going to take me a lot more convincing to actually go ahead and get rid of her. But I am considering bringing a better driver in since we're going to have quite a fast car next year. It's just one of those things that I'm going to weigh up for the off season. But we're going to go ahead and skip ahead here, see if we can get this front wing built. We've got performance work done, so that should be the new gearbox fully up to scratch there, shouldn't it? Yeah, we're up at 540 there. We're working on the reliability just because. Why are we even working on the reliability? We don't really need that, do we? Because it's not going to matter for next season. We don't need to do much for these parts. Should we just go ahead and work on Santa Ana's car anyway? Right, do we have all the best bits in Lachtanen's car that we could have? Yep, she does have the second best gearbox there. That's pretty much it, isn't it? She does have the second best front wing, yeah, so that's alright there. Do have some sponsorship offers coming in for these, but we'll wait and see what we can get just before the race. Wait and see if we can get all 3 of these filled up. So let's just skip ahead here. The front wing is now finished. So what does this look like now if we where is it, 409 for that? What can we actually get that up to? 445. So that is what we're definitely going to work on now. We're going to get rid of everything here. No, why did we get rid of that? Silly. We don't need to work on the reliability, do we? Because it's risky. Yep, a medium risk on that. And it's going to actually be finished before the next race, although we're not going to put it in the car. And we do have the 3 offers here that we can get. Which one should we go for? Buxina 12 or above, so this is the one we're probably going to use going forward. So should we go for 8 for above? Obviously the last one we had was 4 for above for 800,000. We weren't getting that. Don't think 50 or above. It's going to tie us in for most of next season is whatever we accept here. So should we go for 8 for above and hope to get £500,000 per race, or go a little bit riskier and get 50 or above for 800,000? Should we take the upfront payment as well? Go for this one, 6 or above. And it doesn't tie us in for as long, just in case we can get a better one next time. Yeah, we'll go for that one. It's not the best deal money-wise. It's not as good as this one. Yeah, because it's not really actually too bad, that one. Because that's 750,000 over 7 races. So it's just over £100,000 a race. Probably about 107,000, something like that. So it makes this 757,000 pretty much per race. Plus we get some of it up front. So yeah, that's definitely the one worth taking. Just because we're a place down on that one. It's probably going to be the one that we accept now, because we did have a lot of good finishes this year, and hopefully we can keep those going. Whereas this one, 250,000, neither here nor there, and we are getting £1.1 million per race. So I think that's it. I think we don't have to do anything else now until we get to Guildford. Other than this one, we're never going to go for the 2nd or above one. And a lot of these don't accept as much bonus points as the bonus payment as the one we've just accepted, so we're going to go for that one. It's only 100,000 we get up front, but we might as well take it. And we'll just go ahead now and get to the race. Yeah, and wait for that front wing to be built. Just before we get to the race, we've had a quick dilemma here from Latinen, who's not been feeling herself recently and thinks she needs a short break. So we did go ahead and give her a short break here, so she become refocused, and that actually worked out pretty well, because she does now have this refocus stat. Although I don't think it's going to quite last into next season, but it's going to certainly play into her hands for the last race. She's got a +1 in pretty much everything there, so all her stats have gone up quite a bit, and it's now made her a 3-star driver at least for this last race. So hopefully that's going to work in our favour here. We've done Guildford before, because it's, I think track layout A is the same layout. Yeah, it's a long one. I think that's the same one that we've used in the European, so I can look at my notes and get a pretty decent practice setup here from the off and see what we can do with that, because I think it's the same one that's used in the European series, so I can use pretty much the same setup that we use there. So we're just going to go ahead now and get to the race. Qualifying race, heavy rain it looks like it's going to be at some point. So yeah, let's get there to practice. Right, so it's race day here for the Guildford Grand Prix. The front wing has just been built, so let's go ahead and put it on the car just to see where we're at performance wise. Hopefully remember to take this out. It's a 444. Oh, it says it's a 445, but a 444 there. So where does that get us? It gets us just about up to average, and we're 6 there, so that's made pretty much a good improvement there. So we've got a pretty good base there with the new gearbox that we're going to be putting in, which is obviously the best for next season, and this where we're 6th best. And we're not far behind, so we do have to do some work on these next season somewhat. So hopefully by next season we don't actually have the worst car. That would be amazing if we don't actually have the worst car next year. Make sure we've got this gearbox out, make sure we've got this front wing out so that we don't lose them for next season. I'm going to have to think, we're running down on this, 1 month left, so I'll talk about it later. Still undecided on Santa Ana. We're going to go for this new sponsor. Look at that. That one's 2nd or above. And we've got this one 6 or above, but we get the same amount of money. Latinen's always unhappy with those parts that we give her, because we always do give Santa Ana the best car here. So Guildford, I do actually have the setup here from my notes from the setups that we used in the European Racing Series. I think it got me about a 96%, so hopefully we could go ahead and improve on that for this Guildford Grand Prix. And it looks like we've got really heavy rain for practice here, even though it said it wasn't going to be. So maybe the race isn't going to be as wet as we thought. Maybe the weather's changed up a bit and swapped around, but maybe it's going to be even wetter than we expected. So this is the setup that I used last time here. It's got a weird wing angle. I do like to keep 10 degrees between both of them. Obviously that's not what I went with last time, and we went with long gear ratios here and a very hard suspension. So this is what we went with last time. It's fitted in all the mechanics recommendations. We're only going to do one lap to start with, so intermediates will do. I will do the same setup on Latinen's car. I'm going to go 17 and 25 and a half again. Although we won't change the tyre camber on this one just yet. Pretty high here. Just gets us inside the recommendations. We're going to go intermediate, so it's going to need wets for maybe the second lap. But anyway, we're going to go ahead now and just run practice, and I'll go through everything after. It's something I've been experimenting this, just skipping practice, and I feel it's pretty pointless going through the setups, just tweaking little bits here and there, and then going ahead and talk about what we did afterwards. Leave a comment down below if you do like this setup, or you would like me to go through practice a bit more. I am open to suggestions on how I run this sort of thing, what people would more like to see. For me, just moving a few little sliders here and there, because I do send the cars out and come straight back in until we do that, and we only usually do one time lap on some of these. So if this is how you like it, how we're doing it at the moment, let me know. And if you do want me to change, let me know about that as well, and I'll consider maybe putting a few more laps in practice. Obviously with the qualifying we do pretty much the same and just show the hot laps. There's not much to say as we're just going out and doing a little mini game. Plus I think the mini game is pretty much pointless, because, well, not pointless, because it would obviously be better to get the optimum temperatures, but clear track seems to work a lot better for us, and the temperatures sort of, there's no point having the temperatures if you're going to get held up. So that's how we do that. But anyway, we're going to go ahead now. I'm going to run practice and come back with the setups and see how we went ahead and did, and see if there's anything else we can change. Right, so we had a really good practice session there actually in the wet. It was quite a weird session. It kept raining really heavy for one lap, getting the rain stopping the next lap. So it was a race where the conditions were between wet and intermediates lap to lap. But we went pretty long. We only set one actual lap time, which was towards the end, which was on a drying track, which we managed to set the best time on that at that point. But then again, all these other cars, they did a lap after us as the track was even drier than what we did it on, and they were still a lot slower than us. So hopefully that bodes well for this race. It's pretty surprising that we were up there at the end of practice. So what we're going to be like here, it's going to start getting wetter, isn't it? And it looks like it's just going to stay damp. So are we better sending both cars out straight away and try to get a lap out of these cars whilst the track's at its driest? I think that's going to be, because we've got the trim on the intermediate since it was so wet for practice. So maybe that's what we should do, just send them both out, not worry too much about the setup. But we got this absolutely bang on here. It started out pretty well with the setup that we used last year on this track in the European Racing Series. We went the wrong way with the downforce. We went up with the we actually went a bit higher with the downforce, whereas I wanted it the other way. We actually ended up here sort of about the middle, quite a bit of underspeed and the top speed done there for Sant'Arana. Why is it suggesting the super sauce? We want intermediates here because it's pretty wet straight away. Yeah, it's not even, it's going to take about 30 seconds for it to be wet, isn't it? Latinen, we got her pretty bang on as well. Started off a bit lower. She wasn't as happy with last year's setup as Sant'Arana was, but we got it took a bit longer than Sant'Arana's for us to get there. We did get her there in the end. She wanted the downforce a little bit lower than Sant'Arana, not by much, and pretty much everything else was about the same. So we're going to run intermediates here as well. We're going to get out pretty much as quickly as we can. If this is suggesting super sauce for us, I don't know if it does actually suggest a tyre for qualifying as much as it does for the race. It does put you in the intermediates when you get to the race setup. I wonder whether some of the computer cars are going to try and come out on dry tyres. I don't know. But anyway, we're going to go ahead until we get both of these cars coming up for their flying laps. They should be both coming around at the same time, since I'm going to try and get them both out of the pits pretty much as quick as possible, just in case this rain does continue all the way through qualifying and we can get a decent lap on whilst it's not as wet as it's probably going to end up being. So hopefully that does work out for us here. We'll work quick as in practice, so hopefully we can carry that through to qualifying and we'll come back for the flying lap. So we didn't do too badly with either of the mini games there. We did pretty well for Latin in there, so hopefully she can set a good lap here, although we're probably going to get held up by a lot of these cars coming out of the pits to set their laps. But hopefully, and it doesn't look like the rain's going to stop at some point. Yeah, the rain's going to stop, so this isn't going to work out the best for us, but hopefully we can get some decent laps in on this first time round here. Looks like Latin got slowed down a bit by someone coming out of the pits there. Yeah, she has. She's got slowed down quite a lot by this car here. Didn't happen as well for Santana. I think she's got pretty clean around there, so hopefully that's not going to affect her. So Santana's going a lot quicker than Latin in here, just because of that one little hold up that she had coming out of the pits. So it looks like someone's got quicker now, faster than Santana in sector 1 there. So let's just see what sort of lap time we get here. 1:33, so pretty close by the end of the lap there. So we'll just see what sort of times other cars set on a 1:30 there. So we're quite a long way behind. Is that just because the track's drying out? And it is. And look at that. The track's getting pretty dry there, isn't it? And it's going to start raining again. So a lot of these cars are going to get pretty decent times here. Just because of that little bit of dry track. They can go a lot faster at this point of the race. Maybe we should have kept one back. And it's going to start to get a lot wetter. Looks like we've got some heavier rain coming. Should we just wait a little bit and see if we can get a bit of an early forecast here? Because we're not going to get back out whilst it's dry. It's going to be a lot wetter for the next lap. It doesn't look like the rain is going to stop at all here, does it? It's just going to keep getting wetter and wetter. I don't think we're going to be able to set a better time than that, because it's going to get up to wet tyre territory there by the end, isn't it? So what could we do? Should we even bother sending them out, or should we be happy with 16th and 17th here? Ah, that's absolutely atrocious. We should have waited, shouldn't we? I just wanted to try to take the risk and get both cars out here, just in case it kept raining and we got this heavier rain a lot earlier. Maybe that's why we could actually do with a forecasting centre over the off season. Maybe we should go and invest in the forecasting centre, because we would have seen that coming and we would have been able to plan for that, and that would have helped us out immensely. So maybe the forecasting centre is a good thing to do. I'm going to have to come out and risk it out. It's just getting wetter and wetter. No, I'm not even going to bother risking it here. I'm going to leave it there and be done with qualifying for this season. There's no chance of setting a better time on the wets at all. Absolutely atrocious, that. I'm just going to totally leave it here. If you let me go out again, should we? Yeah, let's just send them out. Go on. We'll do it. We'll do a wet. We'll do it on the wets. We'll get them both out at the same time, so they've got just enough time to get round here. It's going to be wet, total wet tyre conditions as they come around, and we'll come back for the flying lap, see how they can do. I'm not going to set a better time than 1:33 on the wets, I don't think. At least that'll give us a good idea how quick the wets are for the race, at least. I guess that's a good point to this. Absolutely disappointed in myself there for qualifying. But anyway, we'll come back when it's time to set this flying lap. Hopefully both of these drivers can surprise me and go a little bit quicker. I'm not expecting much, because look at all these big massive puddles forming everywhere on the track here. Going to be an absolutely atrocious lap, but we'll set it time anyway, see where we can be at, and get onto the race after that, and hopefully we can do something a lot better than this. So absolutely atrocious with the mini game that time as I came round. Not the best. I was trying to get some clear air, but there was that much traffic I couldn't even work that out either. I'm ashamed of myself here. But anyway, let's see what we're at. Tons of time slower here, caught up in traffic, everything going wrong in qualifying. Both cars now fighting with each other. We're on the wets, we're so far behind. What did everyone else set with the wets? A lot of them setting, look at that, times are 1:52 for some of those up at the top. 1:38. Looks like people are getting on the wet tyres. It looks like we're not too far behind with Santa Ana on the wet tyres and the front runners there, were we? They've got a 1:36 on the wet tyre, 1:41, 1:35, 1:37, 1:38. So we're around some of the other teams there. Obviously we did get held up, so maybe if it's a wet weather race we can do something here. Maybe we can try work out some couple of pit stop strategies depending on how the weather's going to be, but we can't look that far ahead of time. So then again, I am probably going to try and build a forecasting centre, because it would have helped us out immensely for this race. Wouldn't have helped us out here. Well, yeah, it would have helped us out here, because that's what it would have helped us out with qualifying, wouldn't it? Yeah, because we could have got that, when there was that like 2-minute little gap of sort of almost a dry track, we could have got a pretty quick time in there. but we foolishly went out early. Although I wouldn't say foolishly, it was probably the right decision at the time, just in case that weather did come a lot earlier. So let's see what the weather's going to be like for the race. It looks like it's going to start off pretty dry here, doesn't it? And it's going to start raining. It looks like it's going to start raining just after lap 2. So are we going to plan for that and just dive into the pit straight away so we can just kill some tyres here? Early on, can't we? We can just absolutely just push a couple of tyres into the ground. Yeah, we can just wreck these supers off straight away, can't we? So we're only aiming. What are we going to do here? We can probably get through that lap, or should we come in for the intermediates earlier on one of the cars? Should we do 3 laps of fuel? Is that enough to get round for 2 laps? Should we go 4, just in case we need to go a little bit longer, just in case the weather does decide to change? And we'll do that as well. We can just keep pushing there. We'll go for 4 laps of fuel. It should give us about 0.6 boost, shouldn't it, per lap? Maybe the computer cars are going to fill up totally. So we're going to have to start off a little bit different to what we usually do. We usually try and go a bit longer than everyone else. So De Graaf has got pole position there, so I think that's 4 points confirmed for him already. I don't know whether the pole position thing gets you double points as well, or if it's just double points on what you get at the end of the race. I don't know whether the point system is as advanced as that, but I think you just get double points for everything. So he's already picked up 4 points, which probably confirms the title and the driver's title for De Graaf, the constructor's title for Esprit there. There's a Bower in 4th, and we need to beat a Bower, and Jessica Monroe's up there in 5th with the MRT. The other Bower, where's the other Bower? Can't even see the other Bower. Right down here with us, and the other MRT down here with us. So it's just basically Cruz and Monroe that we've got to watch. We need to beat those two somehow during this race, probably finish above them, or hope that they finish outside and we manage to get even just 5th place would get us up into 2nd place for season's end. I don't think we're going to be able to do that from the back of the pack here, but we're going to try to slow down the race a little bit here. We're going to run in this one. We're going to go in 2. Lattingham flying off the line there, getting up into 14th there, hanging around. So where's Lattingham here? Doing pretty well. So let's keep an eye on this weather. It's going to get pretty heavy there, isn't it? So should we stop for the intermediates as early as we can? Obviously not whilst the track's still dry, so it's going to have to be at the end of the 2nd lap that we're going to have to bring both cars in. Should we leave one out and see if we can push a little bit longer? So how long is it taking round to get round there? So it does look like we're going to have to bring both cars in at the end of this lap, doesn't it? So we can just keep pushing and pushing here. Going to have no problems with anything, and it's going to get really wet, so we're not going to be on the intermediates for that long either, are we? Should we try and keep... We're just going to keep an eye out here. Should we try and keep one of them on the softs? Because that rain is going to get really heavy at lap 4. Should we keep one of them on the dry tyres here and hope that around lap 4 we'll go 1 extra lap on the soft tyres, even though it's raining a bit and we'll probably lose some time, but then just make that 1 pit stop for the wets? Could that be a thing? We'll just see what the next weather says here. And it's going to stay pretty heavy rain, isn't it? So should we do that with both cars even? Should we risk it? Should we risk that with Santa Ana since she's the furthest down the grid? Because it's going to get to wet conditions pretty quickly, isn't it? Yeah, I think we're going to do that for both cars. Or should we just should we stick Lattingham in on the wets when she comes in? Could that be possible? Should we just go for, should we just take a risk and go for the wets here? It's not the weather for it just yet. We're going to be coming out on pretty much a dry track, aren't we? I'm getting confused here. Should we go another lap? Yeah, we're going to have to go another lap on the dry tyres, aren't we? That's what we're going to have to do. And it's going to be raining, and then we're going to have to come in for the wet straight away because it's going to continue raining heavy. Or is it going to only be heavy for a little while? Oh, so confused here. Well, not confused, but in a bit of a dilemma. What are we going to do at the end of this lap? These tyres are taking a long time to heat up around here. I remember, aren't they? We've been pushing them for 3 laps nearly, and it's pretty cool. Is that just because the rain's... No, it's not because the rain's just started, is it? Right, so a lot of cars are coming in. Let's just see what they're going to do. I don't think we're going to see here. what they're going to get to do. A lot of them are staying out whilst it's wet here. So are we going to send one of these cars around again? What should we do? We're going to pit Latinum for the wets. It's going to be a couple of laps here where the intermediate's not going to work at all. Although it is going to start drying out pretty quickly after that, I think. So maybe we can put 4 laps in again, but not run it into the ground. It's going to be a pretty risky pit stop here because the track's not going to suit the wet tyres at all for 1 lap of the race. Although there's probably going to be about 2-3 laps where it does. So should be that what we do, and we'll try go around. Probably not going to stack them up here, are we? We've run out of fuel. We've just got the fuel that we need to get in. So that worked out pretty well. Should we try one on intermediates and one on wets? No, I don't think we will. We'll just go for wets on both. We're going to take a massive risk here with both cars. Gonna hope that this works out here. Gonna turn around to medium just so they can get into this pit. It's what we're gonna have to do. Oh, look at that for Latin, we timed them. Got that pretty bang on there, didn't we? So a lot, yeah, the computer's changing for wets as well. So we've made the right decision there. I was sort of double guessing myself whether that was going to be right. But a lot of these cars here, these are going to get quite a bit of distance, aren't they? Because it is a bit of a drier track, so just round this little bit that they've done here, they've probably managed to get a little bit quicker than what we can do on the wets. Well, hopefully that's not going to come back and bite us here. So we've got Latin running in 10th at the moment. Not too bad after that pit stop to be in 10th place. Doing quite well here. Let's pit for Inters. No way, because it's going to get wet and it's going to stay wet for a little while. The rain's going to ease off. So Latin, you've got quite a bit of clear air here. We're still pushing these tyres a little bit. Just try and get them up to temperature a little bit more. I keep pressing number 3 on my keyboard, running fast. Which I said I wasn't going to do for this race. We're going to try and keep it at number 2 here. We'll try and switch between 1 and 2. Try and keep a better watch of this strategy. We filled up on Santa Ana's car so she can go a bit further and probably try and push a bit. Although it's going to come to intermediates probably around lap 8. So we're going to need to keep Latin in here. Just going normally and probably turn these tyres down. Try and make them last here. Both getting up to nice. Both in the optimum temperature here. And everyone, these cars did really get a bit of advantage off of that little pit stop there, going a little bit longer. Obviously we didn't have the fuel to do that, we needed to pit both cars. Just because we had to go a little longer because it started raining a lot heavier, a lot quicker than I expected it to. It started with a proper downpour there. I was hoping we'd get to use the intermediates for a little bit after lap 3. Obviously we were a little bit wrong there. And it looks like around lap 8, although we are going slower now, so it might be before lap 8 that. Because this timer moves along, even though it says lap down at the bottom, that might not be the lap that it is, since we are going a lot slower now than what we were expected to be. This little forecasting thing, I think it keeps with what it should be, like the expected time that we should have been doing. Because I have noticed that, like when the safety car comes in, that's what happens. Both cars doing quite well. Santa Ana's in the middle of a pack here. I don't think there's any point pushing her. Although we do have the fuel for it, don't we? So should we go ahead and push her? The tyres are cooling down, so we're going to have to go ahead and push them here, just so we don't start dropping behind with cold tyres. So what's Santa Ana? And she managed to get a little bit of distance there. Is she gaining on the car in front? We're actually dropping behind this car in front, aren't we? Even whilst pushing the engine, although we're starting to gain a little bit there. Latinen is dropping behind this car, although we don't want to pit just yet. It's going to be a little bit early, isn't it, for the Inters, but hopefully we can sort of get a jump on it, one on the other teams. It's going to just be around, hopefully, just about right for Inters when she comes in. She's going to be coming in this lap, and I wonder if it's going to get totally dry, because this rain's going to stop, isn't it? This rain is actually going to stop. So I wonder if anyone else is actually going to come in for the intermediate. It just depends how long the track stays wet, doesn't it? So I think we're going to have to go intermediates with both of these drivers at some point. Obviously, we're going to have to go ahead and do that now with Latinen. How long is it going to be wet for? Probably the 6 laps, isn't it? It's probably going to stay wet enough for the intermediate. So we'll go a full tank here. We're going to get pretty much to the end of the race. Probably to around lap 13 here. We might need to pit before then. So we do have another stop to come after this. as I think does everyone else, because everyone else is going to try and get off these wet tyres. So let's just see what we can get out of a pair of intermediates whilst everyone else should be on the wets. Is anyone else going to come in? No, everyone else is going past the pits here. Santa Ana, we've probably only got another lap in her, haven't we? Because we've been pushing here. Should we pit her as well for the intermediates, or should we try go another lap with her? Well, we'll go another lap on these wet tyres, although it is intermediate weather, isn't it? And a lot of them are starting to change. So these ones that did get that earlier jump are probably not going to have that same jump, whereas we're going to get that now. So we're probably going to have to go and pit Santa Ana here. We can have a push totally, can't we? We'll just push until she comes into the pit. So we're going intermediates with her. So it is, like I said, probably going to be the full complement of fuel here that we're going to use. I wonder if the track's going to get totally dry or whether it's going to start raining again towards the end. So we have got 6 laps of fuel in, but there's 8 laps remaining. Not quite enough, even if we put the engine mode in low. So where's Munro here? Munro's actually leading the race at the moment, way out in front. So the MRT, she's really going to challenge DeGraaf here, whether she can keep enough points to get that Drivers' Championship. Obviously we're a long way behind still. Latinen's out here. We've got to push in the tyres here, just to see if we can get the temperatures up a bit. We're going to go ahead and turn Santa Ana down now. We'll keep her pushing the tyres a little bit, try and get a tiny little bit more heat in. So we're around here. I do like the tyres being around this little, just a little bit above here. This is where I sort of like the tyres are being a lot more. You've got the same amount of fuel in both of them. She wants to pit for wets here, but it's sort of, it's good. I sort of saw her head then. It sort of flicked up, didn't it? It looks like it's going to start raining again. It looked like the track said it was going to get wet then again. Yeah, it is going to start raining again just before lap 11. So the intermediates is the right thing here. We're being challenged by an Esprit car just behind us. So we're going to try. We don't have to worry now about making this fuel last to see how long we need intermediates for, because it's going to rain again and probably going to keep raining till the end of the race. Although we'll probably just hang on a bit and see if it does get a heavier downpour again, because we might make that last stop just for wet tyres and see if we can jump everyone for that. So let's just keep an eye on it here. And it is going to get heavier rain again towards the end of the race, isn't it? So we're probably going to pit for wet tyres again around lap 11. So we've got some fuel to burn here. So should we just go ahead and see if we can burn that? Because we're going to have to make that pit stop for wets anyway. Risky. Risky. Is it risky? Santa Ana's quite a long way behind 13th place here. Latinen is a long way behind 9th place as well. But hopefully we can keep this... Are we actually gaining on anyone here, or we're losing time? Santa Ana's gaining. Slowly but surely. So we're just going to keep running here, see what we can get. I don't think we have to worry about the tyres. Yeah, it's going to get to full wet conditions there, isn't it? So maybe we can just push everything here. Just keep an eye out, see if these temperatures get too high. Just push everything. We're going to go for it in the final race here. Obviously we can't get second because the MRT is actually winning the race at the moment. Who was in the bowl? It's Cruz as well, and they're both in the points, so it doesn't look like we're going to get second. It looks like we're going to keep fourth. But we'll throw everything to the wall. Balls to the wall here. Going all out. I don't think it's going to make any difference. A lot of them are just coming for fresh intermediates, although it's going to get, look at that, it's going to get full wet conditions here. Pretty soon enough, it's going to get the wettest it's ever been towards the end of the race. The wet tyres are not going to make a difference before it gets to probably just part way into lap 11, isn't it? So I think we're going to try at the end of this lap, should we? Should we put the wets on? How close is it going to be? It's still going to be intermediate weather. What can we do here? Latinen's actually closed in pretty well there. We're actually closing in on these cars that being able to push. We're going to come in early for the wets. It's going to be a risk. But it's going to be full wet conditions part way through the next lap. So we're going to come in early, aren't we? We're going to do it. We're going to risk it. We're going to come in for the wets. both cars are far enough apart that we don't have to stack them. We do have 4 laps remaining here, but that's with us going round, so we're going to have 3 laps remaining after this lap, aren't we? Do we want enough fueling to push this car? We'll only put 4 laps of fuel in. We're going to want enough just to push if we need to. We're coming in for wets here. We're going to go just enough to push. Hopefully it's not too much fuel that. And they shouldn't double stack here. Lattenden done an amazing job of closing on these cars. Picked up a bit of time, and it looks like a lot of them have got the same idea, coming in for the wets early. Although not many of them are coming in for the wets early. It doesn't... Lattinen's going to get out. Yeah, Lattinen gets out just in time there. He's actually put 5 laps of fuel in. I actually only wanted 4. He said 4.3, didn't it? Does it always round up? Mistake there on Lattinen's pit stop. Santarana's pit stop even. 7.3 seconds. So we do have a little bit to push here, don't we? And we've got 4 laps. Oh, it did actually put the fuel I wanted. Did it? Yeah, we've got 4 laps remaining. Oh yeah, because that my mistake. That tells us what the leader is on, didn't it? We had 5 laps remaining. Well, 4.5 laps remaining when we looked at that. We now have 4 laps, so we don't want to use this fuel up just yet that we've got in the car. Or should we push since we're on the wets and everyone's on intermediates and try and... Yeah, we'll try and get as much out of this as we can, can't we? Whilst everyone else is going to be coming into the pits pretty soon. See if we can sort of catch a few in this pack. Because we're pretty slower than them at the moment. Although this is where we get into our territory here. Although that little... There, this is it now. We're getting towards the bit where these tyres come into what they should be. And a lot of them are trying to go on intermediates here, aren't they? They're up, further up the order. They're going to try to finish on the intermediates. That's going to slow them down quite a bit for these last couple of laps here. So we're coming around now. Lattinen's coming around. There are 3 laps remaining, so we do have enough fuel to keep pushing for a little bit here. So are these slowing down quite a lot? Are we gaining on the leader? Actually still dropping behind the leader, but it's going to get full wet conditions here at some point. A couple of cars breaking down here, so Lattinen's up into 10th. So Munro, Graf, where's Cruz? Cruz is in 6th, so Cruz is actually outside the points in the Boa now. So we are actually gaining on a lot of these cars that have stayed out on intermediates here. I'm going to have to turn down the engines at some point. It doesn't look like there's enough in it just to catch these cars. We've got 2 laps remaining and we're sort of running close on fuel, so should we turn it down and then we should have enough to push on the last lap. Do we have enough in these tyres to catch 5th place? It's just up to Lattinen. Santarana's a bit further behind. She's getting past a few of these cars that's slowing down. On the inters, I'll show there's a couple of cars with wet tyres in between her and Lattinen, so it's just on Lattinen here. His tyres are getting pretty hot, so we'll go ahead and turn these down now. But we're making good ground on these cars in front, so can we catch? We've got no chance of catching Monroe. We just need this 5th place so we can move above Boa and get inside the top 3. Oh, come on, Lattinen, we can do this. We can do this. 6th place. We're chasing down Cruz now. We're chasing down Cruz. We're going to get past Cruz pretty easily. So do we have enough? If we put this up like that, it should tell us how much we can finish the race, and we've got enough to push right till the end. So can we push? Can we attack with the tyres as well? Don't hold us up, Cruz. He's going to try and hold us, and we've got 5th. We've got 5th. Amazing. We're going to come up to 4th. Up into 3rd even. So far behind Monroe. We're not going to be able to catch Monroe here. Absolutely amazing there. We've probably got enough to push Santarana as well. Although we've just been ignoring her. She's up into 10th now. It looks like she might even be able to get up into the points here. A lot of these computer cars decided to, AI decided to risk it, see what they could do on the intermediates. But this rain is just absolutely soaking the track here. Where is second place? We're coming up behind the world champion De Graaf here, helping Munro. Munro finishes, so the MRT finishes in first place. We're going to get second here with Lattinen. So we'll go ahead and look at what Sant'Anna's managing to do. Can she catch Serati? How far ahead is he? He's only a little bit further. Tyres are pretty hot, so she's probably running a little bit slower than she could be because of that. Can we get that far ahead? I don't think we can. He's coming around this final corner, throwing everything to the wall. Seventh place for Sant'Anna coming across. She couldn't quite catch up there. But second and seventh, an absolutely brilliant race there. The rain worked in our favour once again. Podium for Lattinen. Is that? No, she has had a second before when we finished 1-2 with Sant'Anna and Lattinen in the wet at the Brazil Grand Prix. But an absolutely brilliant finish to the season there. Second and seventh. Just showed that the risk worked, that we went with the wets that lap earlier. Managed to catch a few of the cars before we came in. And the front runners decided to see if they could stretch these intermediates out, see if they could go quick in the rain. Obviously the intermediates totally didn't work there in full wet conditions. And overall, amazing result for Lattinen, so she should pick up, I can't remember what it is for second place. Does it go 8-6? Does it go 8-6? Or does it go, yeah, I think it's 8-6-4-3-2. I can't remember the points that I put on for this because it's such a weird one. I don't think we got a fastest lap in anywhere. So whatever Lattinen gets, we're obviously not going to catch what Monroe got because she got 16 points for finishing first. With the double points. We don't have any parts that are risky. No chance for that. Unless Monroe has been demoted. No, she hasn't. Yeah, so 6 points we got for finishing second, which is obviously doubled there to 12. So we move up quite a bit past the Boa. So we've managed to secure third place in the last race of the season. Brilliant result there for Lattinen. Second place, another trophy. So where does that put us? So we finished fourth and fifth there at the end. Lattinen managing to climb up into fifth. Sant'Anna managing to hang on to fourth. Absolutely brilliant from both these drivers this season. I think that since they've managed to get fourth and fifth in such a rubbish car, that has made my mind up on probably keeping them both. And look at that third there to finish the season, 58 points, only 14 points behind first place there. 5 points behind second, so Monroe just doing absolutely brilliant in that race. I think she's the reason that MRT are doing so well, but they've only got one car doing anything. Look, Monroe 63 points, MRT scoring 63 points. So their other driver actually finishing bottom there, Frankie Parks. He must be absolutely terrible. I'm not quite sure. But absolutely brilliant there. I'm not kind of sure what prize money we get for finishing third. Hopefully it's enough. I think we spent about 25 million on the car last season, so hopefully we've got enough for that. And I am sort of torn on going for a forecasting centre now, just for what it did to us in practice. I'm not quite sure how much a forecasting centre costs. We finished second overall, so the chairman's totally happy with us everywhere there. Yeah, absolutely brilliant finish. 1.4. Yeah, we only got half of that sponsorship money because we didn't finish where we needed to for qualifying. Chapman obviously ran away with the World Motorsport Championship. Cavalcanti in the Eastwood. Eastwood absolutely dominating the European Racing Series there. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, great result for Eastwood there, so they'll probably be joining us next season. So the Drivers' Championship has gone to Rick de Graaf. 9 podiums, only one race win, but 9 podiums. Pretty decent going there. McLeod finishing 16th with only 2 points, and de Graaf with 70 points. So it looks like a lot of these teams are just one driver teams here, aren't they? Look, she's only 3 stars, so a 4-star driver. Maybe that's what a 4-star driver can do in this competition. But Sant'Anna and Lattinen have done so well this season that maybe we'll try stretch another season out of them, or 2 even, just to get the car up to scratch, because we're sort of getting there. Maybe one more season we'll have the car where we want it for that we don't need to keep putting some money away. We've got plenty of money now heading into the off season. So we'll just go through the interviews here. Yep, absolutely excited. Absolutely excited. She did even better than... Why is it saying that? We'll just put that one. Such a stupid question. Hard fought win for Monroe. Contracts running down for everyone here and Roger Dunbar. So we do have a couple of things to think about. What we're working on next season. What are we working on? We're working on the suspension and possibly the rear wing or the brakes. Where are we at with a lot of these things? Obviously the brakes are the worst part that we've got compared to the other teams, because everyone does have pretty poor brakes in this. So maybe if we could work on the brakes, we can get those up to a point, and that would work better with how we go speed wise. We can go speedy and just have the brakes to be able to slow down quick enough for the corners. And obviously the brakes isn't going to cost as much, so what do we actually need for the brakes? It is the brakes R&D facility, £8 million. That's a lot of money in it. And how much is the forecasting centre? £6 million. No, I think it's going to have to be another one of these that we do. Maybe over the off season, if we can do that. If we've got enough money after we build the chassis. But anyway, I'm just going to go put these in so I don't forget before I go ahead and click ahead. We don't have any races coming up, so we can now put these in the car. We'll just put Santa on it. We'll put Latinen in with the second best parts. Maybe that works a little bit in favour as well. So where are we at with everything? Look at that. We've got the best gearbox on the grid. Not far off with the front wing. So we should be there or thereabouts next season. So we'll have a better car compared to the others as what we had this season compared to the others. And this season with such a rubbish car, we managed to finish 3rd and 4th and 5th in the drivers. So with a little bit better car, we can possibly hope to improve on that. Although next season we'll be competing with a Chariot, which, even though they're so far behind the other cars in the World Motorsport Championship, I think they'll probably be a beast in the Asia Pacific Super Cup. So that's what we've got to compete with next season. So it's probably just going to be another season of building, getting more up to scratch. But obviously, hopefully, with this gearbox, we can probably get a few more better results. I don't know how we're going to better this season, because we had 2 wins this season. Somehow. But somehow, somewhere, we can get that done next season. So, if you're not already subscribed to this channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. Give me a thumbs up if you are so inclined to do so, and leave me a comment down below if you think we should swap a driver out for a new driver. I do want money. I like the money in this game, and I want to try and get a few bits like the HQ and the car built up next season. So maybe it's better to stick with the money this season, since both drivers didn't do too badly. What did Latinen have in the end? 2 podiums, which isn't bad for this level. And Santa Ana had 4 podiums in the end, with 2 of those podiums being wins. So absolutely brilliant driving there. And look, she scored points. Look, just this end part of the season, whereas before that she was scoring points pretty consistently. And Latinen, she's been pretty dry for most of the season, but that 500,000 we get just for giving her a seat in the race is obviously a massive help to what we do, because that is over 12 races. That's £6 million. That's like a new part for the HQ, just for having her in a seat. She can finish 5th and give us that money as well. And obviously it's a sensible thing to do to keep her, but should we do the unsensible thing and pump a load of money into a driver? Maybe if we can find a 4-star driver with 100% markability, maybe he'll pay for himself with better sponsors eventually. Maybe we can put a pay driver in the reserve seat. Could we do that? Could that be a thing? Should we get rid of Maya? Should we finally get rid of Maya? I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence. I have to say, I'm on the fence here. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I wonder if I can put Maya in the reserve seat. Although I probably would want someone cheaper. what would we get? We'd probably get half of that, wouldn't we? So we'd probably still be getting near enough 300,000. So we'd probably make 200,000 if she came out and did the practice session. Yeah, so maybe that's what we'll do. We'll try and see if Maya will accept a reserve seat, or should we give Santa Ana the reserve seat? She costs a little bit more. But anyway, that's for the next episode. I'm rambling on here. We'll come back and decide upon that in the next episode. So anyway, that's the end of the season. Overall good, 3rd or above. As I said, subscribe, like, comment, do whatever you want on this channel. Just go ahead. But we'll be back next time with the season open for season 4, where we'll be building a new chassis, we'll be building a new car, we'll be building a new design, we'll have a new livery, we'll decide upon these drivers, and I'll see you down the road for season 4, still in the Asia Pacific, aiming for that World Motorsport Championship, and goodbye.